Welcome back to Captain America Super Soldier. So now that we're in the courtyard, there you go. They were expendable. No Sylvester Stallone though.
Because it was a life!
Time to hijack another radio.
I never understood that line. Like, what is that supposed to mean? It was a life.
He
What
took
does
a
that-
life.
I'll need to watch the movie and maybe there's a shred of a context.
What
Allow-
movie are you referencing?
Warriors of Virtue. Allow me. Basically, the idea behind that line was that, it was a life and all life is sacred. And, him having to take that life really hit him that badly. The problem was that the words they chose to convey it weren't the best.
I know, because I've never heard anyone outside of that movie say it was a life.
Let me put it like this. Warriors of Virtue works on this fantastical world where people don't exactly speak like normal people do.
So basically, the writer was most likely a socially inept person who was sheltered all his life and doesn't know how people actually talk.
I'd say more like he was just pretentious in his writing than anything.
Also, wow, some very colourful opinions on that movie. Someone was apparently so physically impressed by the during screenings.
Could you repeat that, Drapes? You kind of cut out a bit.
Well, at least according to Wikipedia, one critic by the name of Cale Klein was apparently so distressed by the movie he threw up during screenings.
Really?
Which movie is this?
Warriors of Virtue.
Was it because of the blur?
Or maybe the furry costumes. They were so ugly.
It's a movie that you probably will not like because it's a movie where a boy has is it a broken knee, Jova, that he has? I forgot. Is it or is it? Like whatever. Basically, his knee doesn't work. That's all you need to know. And by going into this magical land, suddenly his knee is now healed for no reason.
Also, the guy
so it's usual Hollywood bullcrap. Okay.
And also, the guy's English language slight after Warriors of Virtue, because Ronnie was a Chinese director, or Hong Kong specifically. He would later go on to work on such classics as The Bride of Chucky, The 51st State, and Freddy and Jason.
I like the Chucky movies.
Me too.
To be honest, I only don't like the remake. The remake is.
Wait. Oh,
I
right,
have
the
a sort
remake.
of morbid curiosity, so I am kind of curious to know what made the guy throw up. Like,
Remind me, Jova. Do they ever actually explain something about why his knee gets healed?
It's because of the magical properties of the world.
I get that, but there's an actual specific explanation.
I think it was because...
I remember they don't even address the fact that his knee's healed. He just gets happy that it's healed, and there you go. That we never mention it again.
If I recall correctly, the explanation was essentially that the properties of this magical world slowly draw to you the energy flow, which allows your knee to work properly.
Yes.
That doesn't explain why he threw up.
Essentially, magical world heals you up.
Well, Shiro, maybe he's like you. Maybe the critic was like you. He hates movies that do that kind of thing.
Don't you see? Like every tree.
No.
Reaching
Get that
for
shit
the
away.
sky. Well, you gotta admit, that was another case where, admittedly, it being a magical force was technically the explanation, but a leaf pretty much fixed up that wound pretty good.
It didn't give his eyesight. Oh, no, not just that, Jova. Remember, at the end of the... Oh, I forgot. Excalibur, I think, doesn't actually give him back his eyesight. He's still blind at the end of the movie, right?
Which didn't make a lick of sense, seeing as how Excalibur pretty much fixes everything else. So, yeah.
Not to see, Jova, it's about acceptance.
Yes, about how a woman can be a knight and a blind guy can be.
And how a double-headed dragon can just learn to, coexist like that. What a stupid movie.
Yes, that's right, because they finally get separated, but they decide that they want to be together forever.
I can't believe a movie like that manages to spawn songs that are recognizable to this day.
That's just the thing.
And have nothing to do with the fucking movie.
Well, that's just the thing. The songs are so good, but they are wasted on a terrible movie. Like, seriously.
Almost literal drama, because I dare to say, aside from the one where you improvised beforehand, they barely have anything to do with the movie. The prayer has literally nothing to do with the movie.
But don't you see, the mother's praying that her daughter will be alright.
At least my heart will go on for Titanic had a somewhat resemblance to what the main character was going for, you know, then being separated by Jack and all. But the prayer... No, it's stretch field.
And the prayer is literally one of the most... The prayer is literally one of the most famous songs out there. Like, you know, it's kind of like... Well, it's pretty much up there as one of those songs that you hear being played at, like, very big events being sung by very highly prolific people.
Made his own version, even. That's the thing. Honestly, if you ask me, the only the 2019 remake of Chucky would is the real
the one with Mark Hamill.
Yes. Don't get me wrong, I love Mark Hamill, but he doesn't really fit that role. Any movie made by the actual creator, together with the legendary Brad Dourif, who's been playing the character since the original film.
Oh yeah.
Those are all incredibly goofy. Silly horror type movies that you know, if you're in the right mindset, you can enjoy them a lot because they're a lot of fun.
From what I understand, they're making a TV show based off the I guess I'll just call it the Dourif continuity.
I'm guessing, Pedro, that you're also a fan of the Netflix Chucky movie starring Brad Dourif. The one that's called Curse of Chucky.
Well, yeah, true. That's okay. Yeah, okay. Was that Netflix exclusive? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Well, like Blip said, yeah, I'm a fan of the Brad Dourif timeline, aka the OG timeline, before the remake. But then apparently, someone just told me apparently the remake is basically going to get ignored from this point on, so that's a good. Didn't work out.
It seemed like such a random thing to do anyway. I mean, Brad Dourif is still alive and kicking. Like, well, I mean.
Well, it's because Joe, it was trying to be a more serious and modern.
Well, apparently they're making a sequel. It's going to be one.
Continuing both timelines at the same time.
I guess. Well, I mean, I guess it's a bit easier for this than most other franchises. Since one's still in direct-to-DVD mode, the other one's in cinemas.
Which is weird because, you know, like, in terms of being a more serious movie, I thought that's what Chucky 6 was for.
Not really, Joe, but the only movie that even tried to somewhat take it seriously was the first one.
Well,
every Chucky movie gets sillier and sillier than the last.
I'm talking about Chucky 6, you know, the one where he terrorizes that family with the daughter who's in a wheelchair.
If you find that movie...
I'm not saying that I find it serious. I'm not saying that I find it serious, but it felt like that was the movie actually trying to go back to more the serious tone.
I don't know, like even the original in particular, like the original was the only one that really tried to at the very least take itself somewhat seriously, if you ask me.
Oh, Pedro.
Like, they have so many silly stuff that it just, I don't really understand how it can possibly be an attempt, to be honest.
Oh, trust me, by 4 they were literally calling it a horror comedy.
Well, yeah, exactly, that's what they are basically, horror comedies. Think of it like a slasher movie. You know, like you're just going to watch in what many ways and how many people Chucky will kill before he gets burned again.
Still, though, I'm glad to hear you're a fan of the Chucky movies too. I like them as well.
I haven't seen any of them, but one thing I will say, reading, it's interesting how the same creator has stuck with the series since the start, because not even Halloween, other horror franchises like Halloween and to an extent I forgot the name, the one where done with Wes Craven.
You mean Elm Street? Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, because Craven left, so he came back for one movie. Left
sorry. Wes Craven's The New Nightmare, I think it's called. It's actually one of my favorite of the franchise. It's essentially a metatextual commentary on how the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise has spiraled out of control. Basically.
And they made Freddy vs. Jason, but that's neither here nor.
And then was the god-awful remake.
Wait. There was a remake of Nightmare on Elm Street made?
2010, and it sucks. Anyway,
I have not heard of that one.
I'm on the eastern edge now. I need to find a better vantage point.
Their rail system runs fully east to west of the complex. The eastern rail bridge should give you a clear view of the air docks. Find a way down to the...
Basically, the point is that our Stark told us where to get to the Red Skull. There you go. And now we need to get to it. But no, Dibs. It seems that the creator of Nightmare on Elm Street was... oh, there you go. Nightmare on Elm Street had just had bad luck and was, overestimating what the audience could sustain, because he made Wes Craven made Wes Craven's New Nightmare to demonstrate the fact that the Nightmare on Elm Street spiraled out of control, but he could still at the same time make a proper Nightmare on Elm Street movie that was scaring everything, and it was the lowest grossing of the franchise. People at that point were just caring about Freddy spouting lame jokes, which again, it's funny. But it's also, it would have been also nice to see a return to origin to Freddy, which was that, and people just didn't care. Then Wes Craven did Scream, which was instead a completely new IP that was supposed to satirize the entire slasher killer genre as a whole, and people actually cared about it, but for the wrong reason. Instead, they actually liked it because we took itself completely straight, and the sequels of that kept instead that tradition. So poor Wes Craven, which unfortunately, bless his soul, because now he's deceased, had to see his poor message and ideas completely denaturated by audiences that, were just wanted a popcorn movie.
Well, they're making a Scream 5.
Oh god, seriously?
Why?
Because
Are Disney behind it?
well,
wait, that's a Disney movie now?
Hang on, let me read it. But go on anyway.
Well, basically, to answer you to this, it's because Don Mancini, the creator of Chucky, he's very passionate about the series and the character in general. So he never had any trouble in just keep going. Like, as long as people are willing to support it, he's willing to continue, because it's just what the...
Can I have a
Scream
time,
5
please?
actually
go to 13.
Right.
Anyway, Scream 5 is actually being made by Paramount.
Huh.
I'm there.
Alright,
So,
almost there.
But once Disney is completely innocent.
Amazing. Nowadays,
There we go, I just need to...
it's easier
There
to...
you go.
Oh.
Sorry, Jova, because we're about to get the introduction, because the Red Skull is about to approach the base. Yeah, meanwhile, Dugan destroyed the cannon. But the good news is that we can take from behind all of these people with the right, tools. Basically, now the game, to encourage you more, is giving you 2 bars of the special meter, so you can use one of the conveniently placed snipers, which are in the back rows, to actually use the arm, special move, and start shooting the shit out of everyone.
Lovely.
Unfortunately, on run, I wasn't really that good at aiming in such a short amount of time, but it was still fun.
It was fun while it lasted.
Unfortunately, I wasn't even able to stop them ringing the alarm, so I think I would have to take on another small wave soon enough.
Oh, what they say, the more the merrier.
Well, it's a Sega game after all, so why not? Alright, and there you go. I think I should be done. Yeah, there you go. Oh.
That's a thing of beauty, Dugan. Now get outside, link up with the others. I'll be there soon.
There it is.
That's big enough for you? Jeez.
One must be compensating for something.
was pleasant.
It was. Until I arrived to find the castle under attack.
Semantics.
Easily dealt with. You, did bring the cosmic cube?
Of course. And I will use it to activate the sleeper.
Yeah. Oh, the sleeper, you say? We heard that in the Zemo diaries.
I have it inside where no misfortune can befall it.
From this minor annoyance.
What we do here today will crush those idiots. Turn the tide of the war itself.
Well, we can't let that happen, otherwise we'd have a time paradox.
When both sides have weakened each other sufficiently, all the world will meet its true masters.
And we will be
There you go, the Nazis so evil that they'll betray the other Nazis.
Huh. Again, a nice way to actually talk about the rest of the world without actually to mention directly, just to avoid the censorship. But let me use this also to talk about, for you to ask you to not set your expectations too high. I mentioned at the beginning that the slowdowns, the graphical performance was one of the major quote-unquote problems of the game. What's the other? Don't expect too much from the Red Skull. You don't actually really even face him on a proper boss fight. He's actually to help a boss you face later on, and then he sort of drops until a Stinger where he recovers Zola. It's unfortunately one of the more disappointing aspects of the game, because you would think for a game like this you would expect still a proper showdown between Cap and Schmidt, but alas.
I suppose part of the idea was like, well, okay, we don't want to take away the weight of the movie with their final confrontation, considering how they're met. So if Captain America kicked Red Skull's butt viscerally before the plane won...
Keep in mind, like I said, the final portion of the game was supposed to be slightly different, so I do wonder if at some point it was programmed or something like that, but they had to drop it. I don't know.
That would certainly explain it, and if they didn't have much time to really put a replacement thing, that would explain why we're given what we're given. So unlike most stuff, I can sort of see why this was the case and kind of accept it. Normally I wouldn't, but considering the amount of effort put into this particular licensed game, I can see why it would have come to that, as shame as it is.
Yeah, there we go.
So,
you just missed the Red Skull's introductory scene, Dibs. Unfortunately, so I can't ask you what if the sound was a good,
Was he still up again?
Not in this part, Dibs.
Okay. Hitch a ride straight to the skull.
There we go. So basically the idea is to hijack one of these trains to reach the power plant where the Skull is heading. Alright, for this one I'm gonna say 0. There we go, easy enough. Dibs, what was the movie that came out a couple of years ago, centered around the guy who decrypted the Enigma machine on par with the Allies? I forgot what it was called. What the movie was called, actually. Like The Great Game or something. The encryption game. Dibs?
No, just looking up the name. The movie was called The Imitation Game.
The Imitation Game, there you go. You see, I forgot the name of the inventor who actually cracked the new machine. All you needed to just match up... Sorry?
Alan Turing.
Thank you. You see, Alan, all you needed to do is to match a couple of letters and numbers and you would have cracked everything.
I mean, I haven't seen that film, but I heard.
From what I heard, it seems to be pretty good. But I have to check it myself.
Unfortunately, the only film I've seen from that direct passing.
Ooh.
I mean, he did also direct some episodes and Jack Ryan.
Sorry, what series? You cut off for a second.
Jack Ryan.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of Amazon, I only just found out a few days ago, but I've put on the first Alex Rider TV series.
I don't know what that is.
Have you seen a film called Stormbreaker?
I may have heard of it, but I don't know what that is.
Basically, Stormbreaker was back in the mid-2000s, and that was attempt to make a big budget superstar spice. It didn't pan out. So, so now they've taken the, well, if it didn't work in film, let's jig it here, wait over a decade to do it. Like what they did with Series 2 Unfortunate Events.
Okay, then. Alright, let's move the train. But we also need to catch it, so let's get a move on. Alright, now watch as Cap is about to do something, well, I know that it's more in his nature, but it's still pretty reckless. Now he's gonna basically reverse the polarity of the rails, yes, really, in order to propel the locomotive like a speeding bullet.
Well, it makes sense, you know. It makes sense with the slingshot theory.
Alright, here we go.
It's like a linear induction coaster. Neat.
Behold, come to Express.
It's not the Orient Express that has a murder on it, believes. It's the Murder Express. It's the train that kills everyone.
So, I was saying a bit earlier, damn, the Polar Express movie.
You see, that was Tom Hanks' secret agenda, killing everyone with a train.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Cap, maybe you should have secured a better position before doing this.
You had to improvise, Tio.
This was the movie Robert Zemeckis wanted to make.
Hold on, wait for it. Slow-mo.
Oh, but it can.
And it is.
Well, I'm pretty sure they don't know anymore. And
So,
that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Cap deals with a steel wall.
If it's rain.
He smashes a fucking train into it.
And also by thinking he's Superman, apparently.
Anyway, in the next part, we'll follow the movements of the skull and see if we can manage to catch up with him. See ya.
Yeah, see ya.